Now that we have our mid-season update, I feel like now is a good time to talk about the new season. I wanted to give it some time, and I didn't really want to jump the gun when it came to assuming how certain things would be. As an example, you know, the first few days of the season were incredibly buggy. Okay, see ya. We're out of here. This is $1 billion company, by the way. I don't know what the fuck I did, but we're out of here. However, we got a handful of new items that I enjoy using and seeing in the loot pool. The battle pass has skins that aren't terrible, and the map got changed a bit with a couple new features. I've played both builds and zero builds, and I've got to say, I am glad that one mode is not better than the other right now. Let's not go around shaming people for playing zero builds, okay? Just because you, you know, chug G fuel and you just play builds for like 19 hours a day, that does not make you better than other people, all right? So stop complaining about that. I think what we talk about first is the theme. It's a heist theme. Robbing banks, stealing gold, of course Midas would be here for that. But with a gold-oriented season, that means we actually have a lot of options for where we spend our gold. You might get gold fast if you have one of the new boons, or if you rob a vault, but instead of only being able to buy NPCs and medkits or big shields, you can now buy specific weapons and use different porta potties around the map. Within these new black markets, there are mythic weapons that you can only get with dilbits, which are able to be found by robbing a vault. But I did mention the new boons. We'll talk about that now. We have the Vulture boon, which reveals exactly where people were eliminated on the map. The Gold Rush boon that grants the new Gold Rush effect whenever you open or destroy a chest. Adrenaline Rush boon that gives the slap effect whenever you mantle, hurdle, or wall jump. The Gold Ammo boon gives you ammo whenever you pick up gold. And the Greed boon, which gives more gold on eliminations and opening any containers. Sadly, we did lose the boons from last season, which means these are the only ones we have to work with. I mentioned it a few times already, but we have the new mechanic that was added this season, and it's called Gold Rush. It gives haste, which means you can break structures really quickly, and I think you do a little bit more damage. You move a little bit faster with it as well, and I think for tournaments, this is just gonna be a complete nightmare. There is a Gold River that gives the Gold Rush effect, and Gold Veins that also give you the effect. But I had a few concerns for this season when it came to originally hearing about it and even playing it. I think there are some things that take away from the robber / break into a vault kind of theme for this season, and it's the fact that we have had themes like this before. The heist theme has been done quite a bit, changed around basically every time, and I think the difference between those seasons and this season is the underwhelming loot that you get for breaking into any of the vaults. The same goes for armored trucks as well. It all seems to be really just a glorified weapon bunker amount of loot, and it's really optional to go to these things. The vault that is the most interesting is the randomly selected one that has Fletcher Kane. He gives a mythic Mammoth pistol and gives a worse version of the Nitro medallion. It is pretty fun though. I've enjoyed sending people flying with it.
Rush! Rush!
Where did he go?
He
died! He died!
The Unstoppable medallion is fun. You can combo it with Gold Rush and the bat to super speed around the map, but I don't think it's helpful for you if you're on a team because you're going to end up running too far ahead of your teammates. There is also the Super Shield medallion, which sadly just reuses the mini boss fight from last season on the island, but I think that this is basically perfect for zero builds. But alright, let's get this out of the way now. The new POIs, I'm not name dropping because who cares, but these areas have a large amount of loot. Some have vaults, some have little secrets to open up a tiny vault, and all around they're pretty great. Some areas around the map were given a bank, and sadly a place like Demon Dojo is just a ghost town at this point. I do like what they did with the train. Being able to break in makes it not so one-dimensional in terms of use. We also have a couple black markets at specific set locations, and with the new community quest, probably by the time this video comes out, we will finally be able to use the new exotic. Future Bennjipie here, still current for you guys. You know, I've sort of explained this before with, you know, the future, past, whatever, but anyways, the community quest is done, and it added a handful of weapons that are either super cool or super cancerous. Regardless, I am glad that we have more to use when it comes to dilbits and its different items, but the Midas drum gun and Brutus minigun are terrible for this game. By terrible, I mean they're really good, but it's just going to cause issues with someone getting it and abusing the absolute shit out of it. They also added a slap chug cannon, but they gave it durability, which doesn't make sense because the downside to carrying it is that you have to be willing to give up another slot to carry it. I don't understand that. And the coolest item that sadly doesn't last as long is the rocket launcher that lets you kind of shockwave back and forth. Really cool, but the amount of fun that you get out of it only lasts until, you know, you're out of rockets. And you know, altogether, everything that's added POI wise and random locations, it's great. But okay, now we have new weapons and items. This is a mouthful, but we're going to push through. The Striker Burst was unvaulted from chapter 5 and it's hit scan now. We have a new AR called the Collateral Damage Assault Rifle, and it seems to only be effective in zero builds or when you're, you know, close and personal with someone. They added the Mammoth pistol and gave it a mythic version that has 2 shots in it, and I'll talk more about that in a second. The Plasma Burst Laser, really just very annoying, and I hate it. I don't like it. If you removed it, it, it wouldn't make much of a difference. The Falcon Eye Sniper, the bullet drop is too heavy to warrant anyone to use this effectively, so just don't even pick it up. The Kneecapper is the better version of the Typhoon Blade, and with the rocket drill, you can actually counteract the fall damage it gives you when you get hit into the air by it. We also have Thermite, not this one, that's from Siege. Thermite goes through walls and it sets some stuff on fire. It's pretty all right. It starts the stuff to break into a vault. That's really the only use it has. There's Sub-Zero's combat kit. You can walk on water. The melee is strong if you use it correctly, and the dashes are pretty cool. The porta-cover is useless, and it should honestly just be removed, and the amount of times that you find porta-cover, it should be replaced with finding a porta-bunker. There's no point in carrying this at any point in the game. The pulse scanner is useful for the first 30 seconds of the match. Nobody carries this at endgame or even in the mid-game. I've never seen it before used other than off the spawn of something, or if you're fighting in a POI and it happens to be on the ground. We also have the Med Mist smoke grenade. It's really cool, heals really fast. It's good for, you know, a group or something. I have no complaints with this. I think it works perfectly. We could keep this in the game and not have no issues. There's new gold splash, and I mean, it gives gold rush, and it's a splash, movement speed, you know, all that stuff. It's fine, whatever. They also changed around the chug jug. You can walk around with it and save however much you left in it for later. Very cool, solid, great addition. Keep it. They unvaulted the sticky grenade launcher, by the way. Put this sack of AIDS in the vault, please. It just doesn't flow. It doesn't work. The pump and dump is kind of terrible. The outlaw shotgun isn't worth carrying if the sentinel or the auto shotgun exists. And the rocket drill is fun. It's sort of balanced, but at the same time, not exactly the greatest balance. I don't like either of the mobilities this season. You can also drill to get materials. I thought that was cool. That's probably the only interesting part about it. But okay, let's talk a little in depth about some items I have an issue with, and then I'll talk about some stuff I'm happy with. The Mammoth pistol being treated as a new item for this chapter kinda sucks. Most players like myself put up with this thing in reload for what felt like a year straight, and they finally vaulted it not too long ago. The mythic version just makes the problem even worse for this item. It's not hard to hit shots with. Even if you miss, you're just gonna reload. With the mythic version, you get to shoot twice, and the main problem is, why would I use the new sniper in the loot pool if A, it doesn't one-shot headshot until it's like a way higher rarity, and B, it has heavy ass bullet drop. The Mammoth, regardless of rarity, is just good to have if you like having something related to a sniper in your inventory. It's guaranteed damage to hopefully crack someone or get rid of most of their shield. I don't like it. I would prefer the season to not have it, but since it's a mythic, they aren't going to exactly get rid of it. More or less, I wouldn't be opposed to only having higher rarities or just getting rid of any rarity besides the mythic for the Mammoth. I think that could be good. It's just not fun to play against. Second thing I have an issue with is the Kneecapper. The bat in zero builds is the most annoying shit I have ever played against in my entire life. If you do not have it and you're stuck in a closed off, very tight area against someone who has it, just call it quits. It's over. But once you get a bat, it's much easier. The bat negates fall damage if you super sprint and jump. I don't understand the need for that. And like I've said before, with the rocket drill being added, you can counteract, you know, dying to someone smacking you off a mountain and you falling to your death. Now, see, I originally wrote part of this script before playing. I'll be showing a clip. In builds, the Kneecapper and the rocket drill both are a problem in builds. They completely destroy them, absolutely eviscerate them. There's absolutely nothing I could do in this clip to get away from the people who are using the bat. It is absolutely impossible to deal with. I don't really play builds a whole lot anymore because of this. I tried giving it a chance. It is the most infuriating shit ever. And honestly, since the most recent update, I just haven't really touched builds. But speaking of the most recent update, the challenges are out to get some free stuff, but you need to play with someone to earn it. Something that I figured out is that if you have Save the World and you play with randoms, you can actually earn XP for it, which is good. Hopefully Epic doesn't patch that, because that would be stupid. It's also really dumb to force your friends to get onto the game that they don't like. You know, that's a personal problem for me though. But one thing that's really stupid is why did we get Duplicate? Of all skins that was going to be free, why do we get Duplicate? No one likes her. I'm archiving this. I'm tired of Duplicate. I fucking hate Duplicate. She's awful, terrible, fucking kill. And with the new update, we have an old LTM that returned that I was happy for, until I realized that Epic made a small choice that really heavily negatively impacts the mode. They have ranked for both zero builds and builds for an LTM that just makes absolutely no sense to have. It barely even makes sense to have zero builds, let alone a ranked version of that. There isn't even enough players to fill one match. Oh, okay. My sources are telling me that they only took out ranked zero builds. Okay, thank you. Also, sir, we have another issue. What is it? Ranked zero builds for OG has quite literally nobody playing. Dear God. Okay, tell Epic that they need to add a ranked mode to Save the World. Sorry to interrupt again. Epic just loves making changes. That's really, made this video go a little bit slower on, when it comes out. They remove squads for the getaway LTM and not ranked or 0 builds. I really question the decisions that this company makes every single day because they have no idea what they're doing. Genuinely. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I almost forgot to say something I like. Honestly, the only thing that is really exciting out of this entire update is the rocket launcher exotic that you can rocket jump with. Very, very cool. Doesn't last as long, but it's cool. And it's also super cool that EMPs are not in the game when cars are readily available around the map. I play a lot of solos. People driving away every single gunfight is the best thing ever that I've ever played against. I love it so much. There's also a lot of stuff that is pretty cool, but it's just not worth pointing out because it's not this grand old thing. It's pretty basic. I posted on my community tab asking what you guys thought about the season. Let's see what some of you guys had to say about it. It's a good update if you're a person who just likes to have fun. Okay, what do we mean by this? Because your definition of fun doesn't mean definition of fun for several other people. That's a little silly. Honestly, like the new battle pass, map items, gameplay features, and the mid-season update might be better than the last season. I mean, obviously anything's going to be better than last season. I think it's a bit lazy, but for the most part better than whatever chapter 5 had to offer, not gonna lie. I don't like the Kneecapper though. I feel that on the Kneecapper. Also, comparing anything to chapter 5 just doesn't make sense because chapter 5 sucked. Repetitive but pretty fun. I really like the reintroduction of the Mammoth pistol, as does everyone else. You can't speak for everyone on that. However, the battle pass is ass once again. More tier 100 collab items. We didn't need another Midas. And why is Kate in the game? I assume they meant to put instead of Rexplode. Whatever. I get that. Yeah, Rexplode made sense to have, not Kate. Fuck Kate. 2 sentences. Thank you. Skype is shutting down. I'm going to KM $. This is a joke. What's KM $? I think it's kind of boring and the POIs are too cluttered. It's fun every now and then, but it can be better. That's a very good way to think about it, honestly. The Heist theme is good. Yeah, it's overused, but it should just stay a part of Fortnite. I do agree with this heavily, I will say. You can keep copying and pasting the same thing, but you can make it different and change it a lot more. I think we've kind of exposed some of the problems that we've had with a little bit of it within this video. Realistically though, I think it's better to do something completely different than continue to copy and paste. I know that kind of sounds like I'm going back on what I'm saying, but just hear me out, okay? If you're gonna copy and paste the same idea, you need to do what happened with chapter 2 season 2 compared to chapter 4 season 4, okay? The difference between these is it was taking something that we already had and it was amplifying it even more. And for this season, it goes off into a completely different direction, which is okay, but then it kind of isn't at the same pace as the previous ones, if that makes sense. It feels like there's a lot, but sometimes too little. There's a lot of reliance on dill bits. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Obviously, anyone is allowed to have fun with any season. It doesn't matter what it is, and you're allowed to not like a season. That's totally okay. Your opinion is valid, and I may say something dumb of saying you're dumb or you're stupid. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's mostly just jokes. I couldn't take it seriously because it's just a video game. But I think coming from the perspective of someone who has played this game since literally forever, I would rather get a new type of season that has not been done before in comparison to something that we have gotten, just because I know that it allows Epic to just kind of copy and paste old code and stuff, and it just kind of lets them get off scot-free, and I don't really like that. Overall, I would say this season is okay so far. We still don't have the scorpion weapon mythic thing, whatever it's supposed to be. That was supposed to be like, I think added with Sub-Zero, or it's supposed to be added later. There's still time, but we still don't have it. I don't really have any harsh negatives or super good positives for this season. It's just all around mid, 5 out of 10 in my opinion, and I really feel like that's okay. I find this season to be way more enjoyable with other people, but honestly, a lot of the people I know don't really play this game that much right now. I feel like I have to force people or pry to get anyone to get on this game, and sometimes even when I play with other people, the game doesn't really feel that fun to play, so we just hop off. I've been playing a handful of other games and Save the World more than playing the Battle Royale. I've obviously played a good chunk of it on stream. I hope our live event to end the season is good. I hope the rest of the season gets better, and I hope we don't get an obnoxious melee weapon again. It's a cool theme for a season, but it has been done before. Use my creator code Bennjipie, all caps, right here on the screen if you're going to get anything in the item shop. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'm really close to like 23K or something like that. I'm like 80 subs off or something. You could be one of those 80 people. Thank you to my members for supporting the channel. Remember, the more people that become members, the more McDonald's orders I can get, guys. Okay, it's very important. But anyways, guys and gals, I hope you have a great day, night, week, month, whole rest of the year. It really doesn't matter when it is, but I hope that it's great for you. See ya.